Imagine, if you will, you have brought together a group of people as a tribe back in, say, I don't know, 513, 650, 720 AD, and you're roaming around the Balkans area. You have won over by a number of small skirmishes, maybe some large fights. You have established yourself and as a leader of your people, and you now control a fairly sizable territory. There are tribes around, and there are problems that you hear about from time to time, and because your territory is fairly sizable, you are spending a fair amount of time with your army moving around trying to quash these rebels, threats, or uprisings. And you're so busy sorting those things out, you haven't had time to set up a base. You've got no castle, but you are just moving around, establishing your rule and reign. You make yourself king, and you come to the northern area, the furthest area north of your sort of territory, and you are confronted by a much larger army from a tribe just on the other side of your border. And they're coming through, and there's 3 times as many of them as what you have on with your army. So you have to beat a hasty retreat, and they are now hot on your heels, and it's now this ongoing pursuit where you don't want to lose men. The going is hard, and because things have happened so fast, you don't have a lot of time to look for resources, and after some time you start to lose a couple of men. Horses start to get lame. Finding food is getting harder and harder. And one night around your campfire, one of your scouts comes in to tell you that he's heard from one of his guys that there is another tribe that's moving towards your position from the west of your territory. So now you have 2 rebel tribes that are wanting to crush you, and you urgently have to strategize. You're far away from being safe. Your food and arms are a little bit low. Your horses are now fewer, but you're confident that by morning time you'll have made a plan, and morning comes and you start trying to maneuver into a more advantageous position between these 2 advancing bodies of men. And you've already sent out scouts and further afield to try and find a route that you can evade. and another scout comes in to say that there is a third war party that's coming in from the east. So this doesn't look good for you. And you have no base, you have no castle, you have no resources or backup or anything that you can send messengers to help you out. In all of your raiding and stuff, it's taken time. You don't have a base. You don't have a castle. You don't have anything to fall back on. And this might be an illustration that you don't particularly like, but this is often where many men find themselves today. They dive into life, they're doing stuff, they're doing their work, chasing girls, getting married, moving jobs, all those life things, and suddenly some really difficult times come, and many men collapse. And I really would like to bring home to you here just how important personal development is. The other version of you, of that king that we've just been speaking about, he took time out first to build a castle. He established some kind of infrastructure. He employed farmers to grow grain and cattle. He got in blacksmiths to build up his armory. And then he went out to establish the frontiers of his newly established kingdom. And so when warring parties came up against his army, if necessary, he could fall back to his base. He could send guys back to bring up reinforcements, fresh food, fresh men, arms, you name it. He had it in reserve. And I don't know how to emphasize this strongly enough, but I'm 52, and personal development for us all is one of the wisest investments a person, well, it's high up, it's at the very top tier of wise investments that a person can make. And a lot of people don't do it. As I mentioned, people just wing stuff. They go through life and they just say, well, I'll make a plan. And when things get hard, many people struggle to make plans in the midst of crises, hard times, famines, droughts, pestilences, wars, etc., etc. And over the long term, the quality of your life is ultimately shaped by the quality of the person you become. And that starts with the decisions that you start making and the personal development that you put into your own life, that you invest in engaging in to build your reserves up, your strength up, your character up, so that when those hard times come, you've got structures in place that will keep you and see you through in a better way than if you don't have anything. So, why should you or I care about this? Well, personal development, by and large, if you do it right and you do it consistently over time, and it becomes a habit, it becomes a part of your identity, it's just going to benefit your relationships, your family, your work, your purpose. All of these things are likely going to be positively influenced by what you become when you set about on that quest for personal growth. And just one thing that I feel important to say, and I think a lot of people like to skim over this, or just because you are successful, say materially, you have a great job, you've got a lot of money, it doesn't equate to personal growth. You being a successful, financially stable person does not equate to a person who has grown in their personal capacity and done personal development work. Lots of people do very well, and then problems come, and then they just collapse. So there's a problem. Of course, I can't say percentage-wise how many people statistically are into personal development or not, but life gets busy. People don't engage critical thinking. People drift. People get distracted. They get sidetracked to personal problems, ego trips, doing extremely well. And many people drift through life without intentionally developing themselves on an internal level. And they keep stepping forwards, they do their stuff, they live out life one day after the next. But lots of people miss consciously choosing to be intentional about becoming the person they want to be. So, in our modern times, there are a number of things that influence or cause that. Our modern life is so fast. It's become so instantaneous. Click of a button, buy that, get that course, fly here, speed over there. There's news articles, there's social media, there's financial stuff to do, there's endless. Life is crazy busy, and there's a lot of white noise. I think. I'm sure that when our grandparents or our great-grandparents were alive, their lives were very hard, but I don't think that they had the high pace of technology, digital overload, emails, webinars, Zoom calls, meetings over here, WhatsApps, Instagram, cell phones, text messages, all the time, And with all that white noise, that takes up a lot of time, bandwidth, and concentration. And day by day, you get to bed and you still haven't done anything for you towards your own personal growth. I've said distractions, quick dopamine, Netflix, bad habits, no habits, lack of discipline, avoidance of accountability seems to be a big obstacle as well. Assumption. When I get to that place, I'll deal with it, or it won't really be that bad, or that stuff will never happen here, or not to me. And one of the biggest things hiding in plain sight, I think, is that good times make weak men. And certainly in our Western civilized first world, we are a very, very comfortable generation. We have most things organized, that we can just have things at the tips of our fingers, and we have freedom to do absolutely anything. We can eat anything. We can have as much sex as we want. We can travel anywhere. We can apply for any job, take up any hobby, engage with anybody around the world. We are living in a very, very easy, comfortable time. And that always seems to create weak men. So if you're hearing me, and if you are seeing a lot of comfort in your friend's life and in yours, take heed, because that is a sign that weakness is very, very close by. And that comfortable lifestyle will make it easy for you to not dig into sorting out your stuff, dealing with your bad character traits, your weaknesses. your laziness, your need to eat more and more food, or more and drink more and more alcohol. So as we go through this progression, towards prioritizing personal development, it seems to me that if you and I want to strive to become the best versions of ourselves in an increasing way over time, the whole personal development thing is not an optional extra. It's almost like a lifelong responsibility or quest. The stronger your character, discipline, wisdom, and emotional maturity become, the stronger every area of your life starts to become. And the earlier and the sooner that you begin, the greater the long-term benefits. How do we do that? What's the application? It starts now. Start where you are with what you have right now. And it's always that first step is the hard one. But just try and take it, even if it's just a small step. Put your alarm clock on the other side of the room so that you have to get up out of bed to switch it off early in the morning. Do 3 or 4 extra reps after your workout. If you're doing nothing in terms of physical workout, try and do 5 jumping jacks and 5 push-ups, even if you have to do the scaled versions. Just find a couple of small things that you can start implementing in your life to start creating the habit of forming a habit and discipline, getting yourself into a yoke where you are starting to become disciplined in implementing discipline into your daily life. Try to improve your health. You don't have to go on some massive diet, I don't think. Maybe for about a month, just try and extend your usual breakfast time extend it by a couple of hours. Just small things, and I'm sure that if you do a careful search of your daily habits, you probably find several small things that you can start doing for just a very short time frame that won't be too physically hard and probably won't cost you very much money either. And as you strengthen those and build those, develop those, stack up those smaller wins, it builds momentum for you to start aiming at bigger wins. And what can I do now to up my game generally? Can I go and help at an old age home? Can I get involved with the feeding program at a orphanage or something? But stretch yourself, grow a little bit, implement, focus, concentrate, because ultimately this is going to help you becoming a better person, a better man, a man of character, hopefully a man of integrity, and a person who can be very useful to those around you, and more importantly to your family. And it's really awesome when you can look around and see people benefiting from your help and your influence. And ultimately, the person who wins most out of this change is you. So, without further ado, I'd like to leave with, if you can, if you can find strength, if you can find resolve to do this, build yourself first, and know that for many of you, if you don't build yourself first, life and hard knocks of life are going to build you, and that is a lot more of a painful journey. The person that you become is largely going to depend on the decisions that you make today or don't make. There's still going to be a result if you don't make decisions. But bit by bit, day by day, keep at it. Make the right choice. Take the extra rep. Become the better person. Just little bit by little bit. And after 6 weeks, after 6 months, after a year, lots of people, including you, are going to be really pleased with your life choices.